Welcome back to the greatest eternity, and we're continuing the trial time. What kept you, my dear fellow? Hello, Mr. Sholmes, Gina. Sure what you said there? Yep. As commas were important there. Hello, Mr. Sholmes, and hello, Gina. I meant to say that the boss, you know, actually died the day before. It's pretty hard to swallow. Odo, yes. I was shocked by the revelation too, Gina. As like was I, possibly more shocked than both of you. That's not a competition, Mr. Sholmes. But I was more shocked than all of you put together. It's the autopsy report in question, is it? It's strange that there's no time death noted. I suppose there's a simple explanation. Or perhaps, a deliberate omission. If it was deliberate, it puts me in the mind of the last case we worked on. Dr. Scythe. I know. Anyway, it seems that on the day before Lord Van Zeiks discovered the body. Or, Inspector Gregson was investigating the Redhead League, so perhaps something happened with him. Come to think of it, you had trouble with those League men too, didn't you? Mr. Sholmes, you were taken by their trick. No. Naturally, I wasn't taken in, as you put it. My sleuth-hound interest merely played slightly by the rare scent of a £4 income. And the scent masked in the underlying scent of reception, I suppose. The two criminals in question are the pair we saw being arrested yesterday, aren't they? Mr. Sholmes' suite, I mean. That's right, Snooze. That's right, Suze. I think this is the tip-off by a good law-abiding citizen. Indeed, yours truly. What a feeling that Sholmes just arrested them because he was just pissy that he lost. So it was going to be that the pair in the witness stand next, is it? Come thinking doesn't quite make sense to me, though. The day before Inspector Gregson was found, you hadn't had trouble with the Redhead League yet, had you? Why would the Inspector have been investigating them? Well, likely explanation would be that Gregson's own sleuth hound interest was piqued by the rare scent of the weekly £4 income. Don't fare him with the same brush as you, Sholmes. One piece. Yes, well, then there's the whole issue of Inspector Gregson being investigated. Barok Van Zeiks for some reason. The Reaper, the Redhead League, Inspector Gregson, Barok Van Zeiks, and Kazuma. I feel as though he knew we'd arrive at this point somehow. Yeah, I think you're right. What's he really trying to achieve here today? And the answers will soon be revealed. Observe the time, my dear fellow. This feast has to be over shortly. You're right. Kazuma was determined that he should be the one to prosecute this trial. And he was determined that I should take on their defense. Just what is this he's trying to hope to make me see? I wonder. I get the feeling that we're a long way from the end of this trial yet. Oh, we're still here. You ready then, Mrs. Sato? Yes! Second of November, 1 p.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. In the name of Her Giant Majesty Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the closed court hearing of Barok Van Zeiks, here present, who stands accused of murder. Now then, Prosecutor Asogi. My lord? Have you summoned the witnesses as requested? Yes, the two members of the Redhead League who planned to carry out deception. They arrived not long ago from the local prison by the police carriage. Very good. Bailiff, and to the two men in the courtroom. These two men are currently being held by the police on a suspicion of attempted extortion. You may omit your occupations, but state your names for legal court. I am Fabian de Rosal. I descend of the great Rosal family from Nice, France. And my name is Pepino de Rosy. I am the third son of a great familia de Rosi, the handsome of the Napoli, from Napoli. The two men first became acquainted at boarding school from European ability. Those who graduate from the homeschool are future leaders of Europe. But do you have any idea how boring it is to be born with the noble blood? Always! I make my mission to get the better of the world by employing the little gray cells of my brain. But that's all I'm trying to do, So, that's the only reason for this whole grand deception that you've been trying to carry out? Oh yeah. Oh, you could say that. Not bad, eh? It's a great idea, this, but the petty plans. The strange combination is the charm of the hilarious brothers. Hilarious brothers. Si capo? Si capo? Listen to me, Peppino. I have two things that I say to you. What are you trying to tell me about the grandest antidotes? Evviva! Evviva! Firstly, I want you to stop calling me this capo. Secondly, we are not the hilarious brothers. This is serious business. Hilarious brothers. Shalavello! There it is! The capo's trump god! The furrowed bro! It is deep. Capo, the furrow, and the meaning of your words. Do we get any profiles on them? And then low 20s also. Why do they're about the same age as the Skulkin brothers? It just doesn't add up. Although they truly do look red-headed. And the hair looks genuine. And we have these three. Sandwich. The court has been led to believe that under the banner of the Redhead League, you have conspired to swindle money from inspecting members of the public. Is this true? Oh yeah, this is that. And what exactly can the nature of this deception by which you plan to defraud? Lord, I will explain it. No, Capo! Leave it to me! As you see, we both have the vivid red hair, no? At school, we were teased for this without pity. The Capo here goes many times behind the schoolhouse, crying like a terrorfante. Hey, those dogs! Someday they will respect us redheads. Every night, he would bury his head in a pillow and weep in injustice. Since then, Peppino, enough! I will explain the rest. The first step was the newspaper advertisement. About 1 week before the plan was put into operation, we listed the name notice every paper in London. Yes, we saw that notice. It was on this one, I believe, entitled to the Redhead League. Oi, sister, I am honored that you have seen it. It states that the only condition for joining the league is having flame-colored hair, and that you satisfy the interview panel are admitted to in the league. You could receive a weekly income of £4. On dates specified, redhead hopefuls gathered and drove to the park and specified in the advertisement. And from each person present, this pair took an application fee of 5 shillings. And this was the money. To France! It was most elegant, non? No, it was most dishonorable. But to be frank, I'm stunned anybody was foolish enough to be taken in by such an obvious trick. The park was described by one of his witnesses choked with redhead folk, like a coaster's orange barrow. And the day on which all these men gathered to apply was the day before the victim was discovered. Cruciously, these two men spoke face to face with every single person present at the day. Oi! I have seen more red-headed people in one day than I have seen the rest of my life. See! And now, every time I get the couple's hair, I feel sick to my stomach. Anyway, why have we been summoned here today? Sorry? The date for a trial was not until tomorrow, I was told. Naturally, neither of these men have been told any details about this trial. They've only been shown this photograph. Very good. So, Mr. De Rosa and Mr. Rose, you will now give your formal testimony to the court on the subject of the gentleman pictured in this photograph. Of course, we are always ready to help with the law. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assembled in the park on Lime Street that day. That overcolored man in this photograph. Aye, capo? None, I don't remember him. Obviously he's dead now, but I assure you, he was not in the park. Oh Laura, the victim has nothing to do with us. You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It was your fault that we got caught in the first place. We've given a sworn testimony that this man in the photograph was not present. Can you be certain? Oi, I'm quite certain. We did not interview this man. Nobody looking like this came to the park. This I can promise. It must be known that you haven't been arrested for grand deception, however. Accordingly, this court has a low confidence in your assurances. Offa, with this attitude, we get nowhere, eh? He's really soaking now. This confidential document was obtained directly from the Scotland Yard. It records the entry from Inspector Private Diary dated the day before the incident. It reads, Lime Street, Redhead League, undercover. How the answer? Maybe there was another, similar of another park of the day question, aye? That is ridiculous. There is no question that Inspector Gregson was investigating the Redhead League. Which means it's quite possible that when he was killed. The defense may proceed with the cross-examination now. Yes, my lord. Well, this island is kind of insane, not gonna lie. Hold it! 1,000 people? That's a very big crowd. I agree with that. Sorry. It was quite the spectacle. Redheads came from all over the capital. And near the capital here, the magnum animale, eh? I hope I'm really being accurate on these. But what could attract so many people? I couldn't be born again. I would be a capo. I would be the capo. All those people wanted the money, Peppino. They're £4 per week. Are you suggesting that you spoke personally with the other applicants? Oi, that we did, because every one of them paid us 5 shillings. We take their names and we take their money. We take their address and swear. And tell them we are taking some days to let them know by post. Fino, maybe 2 minutes per person. We ate early, then we stopped late at night. So, you earned 5,000 shillings in one day? That's a small fortune. We thought there was 1,000 such gullible redheads in London to start with. One of whom was a great detective with chemically altered hair. I don't misconsider the man in a photograph, eh, capo? Hold it! He doesn't look at all familiar. No, I don't think so. And this is the wig, eh? He'll try to trick us. I don't like the people who try to trick us the other people. Says the con artist. I think 2,000, yeah. It'd be unreasonable to expect them to remember every face. No, signor. I may be small, but my memory is very large. I never forget a thing. In my opinion, I do not think this man was in a park. But he's not going to give the crowd a definite, it seems. Hey, capo, you didn't see a man like this, huh? Please cause them pursue them at some point. Hold it! And give them some opening. But according to what you've said, he spoke with 1,000 more people that day. Oi, that is true. My eyes were burning in the air the day. Surely then, you can't actually remember every single face. How are you so certain that this particular man wasn't present? Normally, the red hair is very distinctive, eh? But not when you have 1,000 redheads crowding around, that's just an eyesore. But if there is some other information you could have gave us, maybe then we could recall. That is not the line, Peppino. Remember, we do not remember him. We are sure of that fact. There was a man in the red hairpiece. His mustache did not match the color. And I do not think I could have forgotten him. Hazma said these two red had only shown the photograph, they see nothing else at all. What if I fed them just one other detail about the victim? For example, maybe the fish and chips? I certainly appreciate that you just know the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in this situation. But if I told you that the man was always munching on a packet of fish and chips, do you remember a man who was eating them incessantly? Not really. I was looking at the heads of the applicants. I wouldn't have noticed the fish and chips any more than the caviar and smoked salmon. Oh, spaghetti, me? Love the spaghetti. Really? I had no idea. Tell me again what you said before, Peppino. Si, capo, si! Say it again and again. Hold it! Okay, now I'm just curious. I think the profession now. It might could be the name. The man who had red hair wouldn't help you remember in this situation. But if I told you that the man in the red hairpiece was actually a detective, the man in the photograph, a detective? Yes. It would appear that he found your notice in the paper was suspicious and decided to investigate incognito. Sorry, but this changes nothing. Oh, we got somewhere. Something you add, Mr. De Rose? Che, see? I am always hiding something. Parmesan, olive oil, pepper. What I mean is, did you not agree with your friend's last remark by any chance? What did he say? About the detective? Yes, that. Keep your mouth shut, Peppino. You have said enough already. But why, Capo? What was the problem? There was a man who said, I am an inspector from Scotland Yard. What? Good lord! Go to order! Explain this bold-faced test in your testimony, witness. It's simple. And then who had at the park said to us that he was inspector. There was no such man. Amada, what are you saying, Capo? Have you forgotten, eh? I have forgotten nothing. There nobody like this came to the park. Basta, Capo, basta! You beat me to it many times, but no to. The memory of at the meal, and the meals. Like I said, when it's time to eat a pasta, no one is a fasta. But you are inferior to me in every other way. So shut up! Objection! Chop hard. The damage is done. Indeed it is, sir. Oi! 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 There was a man who came to the park and said he was an inspector from Scotland Yard. However, he looked nothing like the man in the photograph. He was someone else. How can you be so sure? Because, the so is, the face was completely different. See, it's true, he's true. The man who came was younger. His face was clean-shaven, his very eyes were sadder, and his chin was thinner. No resemblance whatsoever, then. Anyway, I was not going to be fooled, so I took the obvious precaution and said to him, if you are really a detective, show us the proof. See, the capo here, he doesn't take nonsense, eh? By the way, he was well prepared. He said he had an identification. Identification? You mean official police inspector's identification? That is most unconvincing. Sorry, my lord. Counsel, no incognito inspector would offer his identification for inspection. It's quite out of the question. Definitely. Why would he expose his true identity? Clearly, these paper was fakes. Sipa Capo, you are a genius! As we understand, Talia, it takes the thief to recognize another, eh? And what happened after he announced that he was a detective? He became very annoying. He said, "You are under investigation." He took his papers from him and chased him out of the park. It was fascinating though. Hey look, I have his identification. So he stole it from the man? He had it out coming. He made us very scared. But he wasn't knocked to said on who he was. Indeed, the person described does not appear to have behaved as the true inspector would. However, I believe it would be prudent for these identification papers to be entered in evidence. But look at them. Now, let's return to the witness's testimony. Why do I have a feeling that this is going to be Sherlock Holmes? And you stole the identity. Oh! 997? What? Yes, it definitely looks fake, doesn't it? Out of the interest, what name is given? Probably just something plucked out of the air. It's Tobias Gregson. Wait, what? The Scotland Yard insignia looks genuine to me. But how? And the apartment identification number details are all correct as well. Since when have you known those? Do you mean to say... I know it seems incredible, but yes. I think this is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. That's unbelievable! Is this the real thing after all? Okay, that changes everything! Huh. There's a... Sorry, I was just busy looking at people. Addiction. Da, da, da. That's a funny remark. I want to press them! But we only have your word for that. See, then what else can we do, huh? True. Unfair! We have nothing much to do these days. If we were arrested, then we are shown the horrible picture of the dead man. And of course everything the would say, we are the victims here! I, Capo? No, you were caught carrying out plots to swindle hundreds of innocent people. You said to bring that up, eh? That's not fair! Aye, Capo? You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It's your fault that we got caught in the first place. Hold it! I just want to see the comedy talk. What do you mean by that? Cavalo, you promised not to say, aye, Capo? After we had taken our money the other day, we should have left the country. That was my plan. We left the purchasing of the tickets to ferry in the Dunkirk and the company here. But we bought them for the wrong day. Oops. See, I bet it's an easy mistake to make the 1st and 31st. I have no sympathy for you. We're on holiday. We're on holiday late for the boat. It's because of this, that so-called great red-headed detective caught us. Capo, you know what I think? This is the work of God. It's a holy punishment, aye? Of course, blame it on God. This is for the last time. This is not only punishment. It is only your fault. Ah! Don't blame God for your unholy mistakes. You are making me sick with anger. Maybe I make a mistake, but when it's time to eat the pasta, it is known as faster. And I've seen the evidence. It seems to be a throw-off. They haven't told us much we didn't already know. I think he was sweating, the French one. Yeah, I think something's right here. Let's continue. Definitely. Objection! I wonder if I could ask you to examine this identification book very closely. Miss Lestrade? Why, Miss Lestrade? What is your intention here, Counsel? Is this really a fake or is it genuine? That's the question, which we can't answer ourselves.
Objection!
Don't be ridiculous. No Scotland Yard detective would allow his or her identification to be stolen. That is the bosses! No question about it! It can't be. As I suspected. The undercover detective who attended the Redhead League's enrollment on that day in question was the Red-Reah Inspector Gregson, carrying out an incognito investigation. Dolores! Order! But if that's the boss's identification stolen, he would have reported it straight away. I mean, it was always on me about it. If you lose summit, report at once, he'd say. Could it be then? The inspector was physically unable to report it. Physically? Why? What are you saying? Unable to. You're not suggesting. Yes, it's quite possible that he was killed before he had a chance to report his identification stolen. No! Order! The defense posits that the victim was killed on the day his body was discovered, at a different location. Do you two have anything to say about that? Hey! I know nothing! I know nothing! Pull yourself together, Pepino! Mon Dieu, you behave like a little more like a master criminal than that, non? Now I wish I returned to Italia. Stop crying, Pepino! Please! Otherwise, Lome! Stop your whining and start talking! Well, I believe the court will need to hear your story in considerable great detail. I know nothing! I did nothing! But you will tell everything! Or face the worst possible outcome. You will dry your eyes and testify again about these identification papers and precise circumstances under which you came by them. I'm saying that way too much. For crying out loud, I agree. The truth is, we took him prisoner and kept him for the night at their secret hideout. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that way. So I encased. I took the master's identification from him and shut him in the room next to ours. Well, it might have been a little trouble, but we did him no harm. The next morning, we let him go. He spent a rather night in a nice room. It's nothing like the prison, really. This is an outrageous. You imprison the man. No. It was not like a prison. He was very comfortable and calm and happy. Couple? It was never part of my plan. I swear it. So you think it was my fault, eh? It's because I got the date of the fairy wrong. It was but a little day. You think it was not your fault, Pepino? I know it. No. Per favor, capo. It's not fair. You shall have plenty of time to stop squabbling back into prison, gentlemen. Ugh! I don't believe this. How could you have been a real detective? counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination. So on the day before the incident, Gregson spent the night confined in his pair's hideout. Truth is that we took him prisoner and not for the night in our secret hideout. I want to know more about this. Do you realize that you're saying? And you have to believe me, I never intended for that to happen. I'm sure the detective did not intend it either. Do you think? But there's nothing else I could do. See, nothing else. As the eye of his wrists. I've told you before, Peppino, that was not the way to describe a criminal mastermind. Yeah, the hideout. An old empty house behind the park on Lime Street. We rented the place for 2 days. It was inspired by the capo here. An impulsive idea, I would say. No, it's not impulsive. Inspired. Aye, capo? What am I supposed to say to that? Eh, people know? It was the house described that you can find Inspector Gregson, was it? Oi. But you have to remember, I was under the impression that we were a pretender. Not a real inspector. That doesn't quite add up, though. If you didn't think the man was a real inspector, there would have been no reason to take him prisoner. Would there? No, you are right. But we couldn't be completely certain. I just want to see this. What do you mean by a little tussle, exactly? Buff, it was nothing. Just a minor incident. It was false, Inspector. It was a real piece of the work. Aye, capo? What happened? Alpha, it was a disaster. We gave him a nice room, and what did he do, In the middle of the night, he tries to escape it through the ventilator. Can you blame him? We chased him, got into him, and we caught him again. Can you blame us? Wait! You didn't shoot the man in your haste, did you? What do you think we are? Of course not! I simply caught an old him again and took him back to the room.
Excuse me!
Mr. De Rose, is something wrong? Me? Something Mr. Rose just said to the team to make you, well, it seemed that you are actually even more stranger than usual. What was that all about? Cavallo, at the time like that, you don't want to have the capo after you, believe me. I speak from a personal experience. Personal experience? That is enough, Peppino. There is no need to stain more. The truth is, the night before we put the red-headed Lincoln plan in action, I was scared. It's not fair to Capo, but I tried to run away. It's a shame you didn't manage it. But the Capo here, he came after me like the turbine, eh? And he dragged me back into the house, kicking and screaming. I had the business to prove it. Aye, Capo? Bruises, you say? You wanna see, You wanna see my fantastical bruises? That's enough now, Peepino. No one's gonna look at you or any part of you. How to do? I shall show you, or shall I don't. I'm gonna show you, or I don't. You do! Now! Alright, if everybody wants to see, then I'll do it. Echo, you see? You're still very visible, eh? That red ring around your neck. You've got that when you were dragged back to the house? See, the capo, sometimes these are very rough. And I said that's enough! Peppino's neck has nothing to do with this, what we're talking about here. You have my word. Yes. What is your opinion, Counsel? Mr. Rose, I'm going to have to ask you to amend your testimony with the details about the rock around your neck. Aye, capo. You see? Everyone is interested in what I say, huh? Very well. You will amend your testimony as requested, Mr. De Rose. Cece, if you really want to know. Put the color on him and drive me back.
Hold it!
Are you saying that red mark was caused by... Cece, a big collar made of the leather. A leather collar? Is this true, Mr. De Rose? What? We had a straight burn on it when we was younger. It was a souvenir from that time, with a very strong chain. A strong chain? It really reminds me of Danganronpa for executions for some reason. And you put that around a friend's neck? It really does. I was thinking that I left me alone. You did not have the tie with the chain at the leg a lot to bend though. It would never have tried to run again. You didn't try to Inspector Gregson as well, did you? Protect the people like an equal, eh? It's a capo here's murder, eh? It's starting to sound a lot more like a prison at all of a sudden. The capos are tough, but the capos are rough. I shouldn't have done it. So, the following morning, when you realized that the inspector, he had the red ring around his neck, just like a me. Tipino, still a vos plat. Leave it now. Now, Nino, Capo here, you don't want to tangle with him, eh? But the inspector is not bad.
Hold it!
Too scared? Why? Because, why did it come to the park? Oh, we didn't know. Just want to check. T. Rosie, where's that? There was a chance that he'd seen through my plan. And if that was the case, he would have gone straight away to the police station by the whistle on us. Even if it was just a fighting to be an inspector. It was up to no good, huh? Without a doubt, I think most people would agree. That's you two who were up to no good. Well, see, you may be right. Aye, Capo. The point is, you were not able to escape from England immediately. That is why I had no choice but to take the man prisoner. What I don't understand is why the inspector felt the need to show his identification in the first place. See, I asked myself the same question. We were writing down his names and addresses for all the people who took 5 shillings from that day. I have forgotten what name Eve said, but the address is startled me. CC! Address! Scotland Yard, Homicide Division. He said. He probably didn't like your face, perhaps, you know. Anyway, I was not rude. Just politely asked why he said it. And that's when he started to say he was inspector. Not long afterwards, he told us it took out his identification. What was Inspector Gregson playing at? Tell the court what happened next. You took him back to your hideout, you say? See, we did it. We took the man's identification from him and shut him out in the room next to ours.
Hold it!
That being our identification book here, correct? See, that's the one. What made you believe that it was a forgery? I never seen a real one, of course. But it was too suspicious, that's a man. Alora, the thinking, it must be falso. Aye, Capo? Oi, it's just what Peppino said. We were convinced that it was not genuine. And so together, the Herleos brothers, we took the man captive. All we did was shove him inside the locked room. Then we made the preparations and transport all the money. And for a penny, and for a pound. Ah, crap, wrong button. Not much to go on, really. The testimony does make me wonder, then. About this pocket watch belonging to the inspector. I mean, yes, the one he treasured so much, apparently. She was confined but not restrained, the witnesses were implying. He would still have been able to wind his watch. That's very true, yes. So did Inspector Gregson actually die when he was being held captive in the Redheads? In which case, it's possible that these two men are responsible for Inspector Gregson's. To be honest, I find that hard to believe. Very wise, Mr. Naruto. Yes.
Hold it!
You took away the man's freedom. However comfortable you may make it sound, you're still holding him prisoner. You say that, but I say this. There is something that takes away our freedom too. The lack of money. So we are the prisoners as well, eh? All of us. Huh? No money, no freedom. This is the truth. It makes me mad, and it makes me sad. What can we do? Well... If you feel so defend franchise, take money to court. Though it will cost you, of course. Oh, fine, there you have it. You see, that is why we need the Redhead League. To fight for justice. Perhaps he has a point. No, Mr. Naruto. All we did was give the man a comfortable place to sleep for the night. You say it's prison, huh? Perhaps he has a point again. Not again. No again, Mr. Naruto. You should have heard him snoring. Madara, if anyone was disturbed, it was us. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I want to try playing this. Let me review this. Have a Reaper case. Not much to go on. I guess we can try this. No. I'm sorry, Counsel, but I fail to see why. Well, you know, I was just playing the devil's advocate. Yes, you do appear to have something of the devil in you, Mr. Naruto. Says the man merely is dishing out penalties. Okay, time to play a little cheatsy. Let's get somewhere, please.
Objection!
So the day before his body was discovered, Inspector Gregson was taken prisoner while working in incognito. Alright. Wrong button? So the day before his body was discovered, Inspector Gregson was taken prisoner while working incognito? No, it was not like that. It was already a prison. No, it was an invitation to stay. It was only. However you describe it, there's only one glaring inconsistency with that remains. Tell me. We would ask the court to look closely at the photograph of the victim, Inspector Gregson. You will see that there is no red ring visible around his neck. Eh? But that makes no sense. It was me who took the collar off the man in the morning. I saw the red bruises on his neck, like I have. Given that the mark is still clearly visible on the witness's neck, they expected bruising on the victim, who was put in the collar more recently than Mr. Rose. Indeed, that is most peculiar. I will tell you, we say this from the beginning many times. Oh, Pappy knows right. The man in the photograph is someone different than the man captive at night. We got captive that night. Order! It would appear then, that on the day before the incident, the man who visited the park in Lime Stream possessing an incognito specter was not Inspector Gregson at all.
Objection!
If that's true, however, how did you explain the inspector's identification? The genuine identification book, issued by Scotland Yard, it's feasible that someone would have stolen such an important item from the inspector. The prosecution made assertion itself. And we also know that the inspector had made a note of the Redhead League in his diary from that day. Which surely means we can't divorce the two events completely. The inconsistency that made no defense is most troubling. If it were really Inspector Gregson whom these two red gentlemen encountered, the fact is no bruising can be seen around his neck defies explanation. But equally, if they actually encountered an imposter, another person come to be in possession of the real inspector's identification. Does the defense have some plausible explanation, counsel? The whole thing defies explanation. It is for precisely the occasions that we kept meticulous notes on court record, Mr. Nahardo. Because those are facts, and the facts cannot lie. The facts can't lie. Even when they point to something credible. It's almost unbelievable. Well, my lord, the true identity of the person who turned up in the park at the Redhead League's enrollment is revealed by information in the court record, I believe. Good gracious! There was a small detail I find a little bit suspicious. I want to try it out. Who exactly is this inspector that appeared before the Rosal and Mr. Rose here? Though it seems incredible, I admit the undeniable fact to point only to one thing. There's no breathing can be seen on the victim's neck. The person who these two red-headed men took prisoner that day cannot have been Inspector Gregson. In other words, your whole argument up to now has been a waste of time.
Objection!
Not on the contrary, I haven't finished. What? There's no bruising on the victim's neck. So the question is, immediately poses next is, who exactly was this man in the park on Lime Street to be carried Inspector Gregson's identification? See, that's right. We tell the same story every time. Whoever this man was, the cardboard dragged him from a pillar post to a dog collar. Alderman Pepino, I was not so harsh to say, It's a rough inspector, eh? Who was he? Clearly, the defense has an idea about that. About the true identity of the man who these two imprisoned that night. I must ask the counsel for the defense to elaborate on the post haste. Who did the witnesses encounter in the park, posting as Inspector Gregson? Might be a long shot, but I think it might be Lestrade.
Take that!
It's surely no secret. This is the identity of the imposter. Oh, really? On what grounds? Well, I said it was no secret, but that part is. Dear me, if ever penalty was in order, it's now I feel. Like the punishment? Like a... okay. Red ring produced by the collar is clearly the crux of the matter here. That breathing is around the neck. Other guesses!
Take that!
I did select Herlock, right? Yeah. Am I not watching something? Oh, if I read.
Take that!
Goodness me! And then that. One witnesses who was in stand in the very courtroom earlier today. A nameless man whose only occupation appears to be paling heresy passers-by.
Objection!
What on earth would a street seller be doing with a police inspector's identification papers? Witnesses, is this a man or not? What happened to his lip? See, this man is not for the Red-Headed League. He looks for a Twisted Lip League. No? Perhaps rather than making such rash claims next time, you should bite your lip instead. It seems improbable, but yes. But one undeniable fact remains. During his testimony earlier, I have noted something around the man's neck. A red ring of bruising. What? The defense demands that Mr. Gossip be brought back to the stand. Order! Baleth, bring the aforementioned witness back to the courtroom. Immediately. Well, never. An undeniable ring of bruising, indeed. And identical to that the witness is beside him. Now, what's going on here, eh? I've always had this, me. It's my birthmark, is it? Isn't it? In it? A birthmark, you say? I assume the reason you've been recalled to the stand been explained to you? Something about the inspector again? But I tell you, you haven't got it all wrong as usual. You're denying all knowledge of it. Of course I am. All I'm trying to do is killing me with some nonsense, eh? Well, at least you have more stories to tell back in the Friends Street, won't you? Now, we're going to need you to testify again. And you, Mr. De Rosa and Mr. De Rosa. I'm sure you'll cooperate, won't you? You have a choice. Well, big trouble, eh, couple? That's quite enough dilatory chatter. Proceed with the testimony. The man who claimed to be an inspector that day, it's definitely not this man. It's right, see? You think we would forget the grand lips, And never lay friends on the street. Right? I've no interest in Red-Headed League. I'm not alone in the world, me. I have no kinfolk or nothing. Why'd I be involved in something like that? Look at me, eh? Does it look like I carry off with this guy to the faith like this? It would certainly appear that we have the wrong man. What have I been telling you, There was no need for this pointless testimony. That's right. I'm just a simple peddler, remember? Friends of the street still I know. How'd I come by? The police inspector's identification book, eh? Well, yes, that's hard to explain, but... A brief cross-examination, I think. Counsel? Very brief. Isn't there anyone else in this courtroom who thinks I might be on something? Steadfast to your case as always. Mr. Naruto! Oh boy. The man who claimed to be an inspector that day was definitely not this man.
Hold it!
So you say, but how can you be quite so certain? There's no need to hurt your hands on this desk, Mansue. Surely the reason is obvious, no? Because I have never seen before seen his lips like this. Nevertheless, a clear red mark around his gossip's neck. Mansue, With your words, was it like you're trying to wring my neck? Yeah. It looks like my neck, though, eh? No, this is a birthmark, lad. The biggest lips in London and a neck to die for. Aye, they broke the mold when they made me. In a way, you could say, for the first time in my life, I feel lucky to have been born with red hair. Oh, damn. Oh. And that was a racist line. What readers could just thought. Oi, this is I suppose you've been with lemons in my hair. So fierce pride has outgrown the frustration with your hair now. Has it? I has. It is right, sir. You'd think I would forgot the grand lips, huh? I never. Well, if he didn't have the lips. Well, yes. Don't imagine I'll forget those lips in a hurry either. That is what I'm saying. What reason? It makes me want to. How do I find you call it? I'm trying to fold my lips while I speak now, and today it's hard to speak. You know, I've never seen hair as black as yours either. Likewise, I've never seen red hair like yours until I came to Britain. See, maybe not national trait. What about Raymond? What about Raymond Bomby? Her hair, I think, was even blacker. Maybe all the people from this man's country have the grand lips. No, lad, I was born right here in Brindle Street. I've never left. Ofa, that's the problem, see? So you definitely didn't go to Park Lime Street that day, Mr. Gossip. Now many times you must say it, eh? Never leave friends the street, alright? I got no intention on the Red-Headed League.
Hold it!
Let's see again. You heard about the Red-Headed League, yeah, had you? Don't get him like gossip, nothing, eh? It's my business to know what's going on from town. I tested to the fair, a few redheads came past me. It's pretty nice, I got a sandwich to cough it up for it. Well, he does have a very red nose, if that counts. Who knows? Beppo! I always got a hint of red in it. In any case, friends, it's just my patch. You won't catch me settling off to some other part in town. No, sir, not likely.
Excuse me!
Mr. DeRosa? Ugh. Oi? How can I help you? Did Mr. Gossip's word just now lead you to remember something relevant, perhaps? It was the other day, when I was looking for a place near the park. Smaller or something. I visited an housing on Lime Street, and there I saw him. This man was paying money to the agent. What? Mr. Gossip? With a housing agent? Oi, it was some kind of contract and they were clearly discussing terms. But no, you're mistaken, chum. I never had friends on the street. Me, like I said before. You're mistaking me for someone else. Someone with the same face. No, the capo was right. I remember too. He was paying the man with a banknote. With notes? Like I said, that wasn't me. I was curious why this man with his dirty clothes and such money. I looked at the name in the papers. And what name was written? Mr. Gossip? No, this man, he lies. He tells you that it was no name. But in fact, his name is Hugh Bone, huh? It's better than Mr. Gossip, I think, see? No! And I'm a peddler of the tidbits of information, like I said, on Frenzo Street, and that's it. I don't know much like folk talking about my personal life. Indeed. And it's not the intention of the court to invade privacy of witnesses. Very well. I shall respect your wishes, sir. Your aforementioned name shall be redacted from all court records of the trial. Assuming no objections...
Objection!
I'm sorry, my lord, but the defense does object. Because the name just mentioned has a very deep significance to the case. My good gracious, do you similarly object, Prosecutor Thogi? As it happens, my lord, that particular name has already been mentioned during today's proceedings. Never? What capacity? Hugh Bone. Name of the leaseholder of the room. Let me put this very simply. The victim's body was discovered in your rented room. I suggest, sir, that you start talking. Well, alright. I suppose that might be the case, eh? So your real name is Hugh Boone? Well, just between us, I don't have to bow me down on now Trump. They'll find a pattern in the tidbits of town. Today, it happened to be an awful grubby little room in a falling down backstreet townhouse. You do? And once every 6 months, I go and pay the rent for the Legion on Lime Street. I remember now. There were 2 vulgar redheads in last time. If either of us was vulgar, it's not me! Think again, Peppino. Why did you bring this up before? It's like I told you already. I don't like talking about my personal life. I'm a tidbit peddler at the fest if everyone else is concerned. You update your testimony to include this most surprising revelation. Mr. Boone? If I must. So the leaseholder Scotland Yard has been looking for this body since it was discovered. Has been here under our noses all along.
Hold it!
So, you live in that room, presumably, do you? No, I don't live there. What do you think? There's no bed, is there? Just a desk. Then, why would you want to rent it? Well, I don't think I should have to say, really. Then how about the notice board in there? Which was covered from top to bottom in confidential documents only the police should have had access to. Ah, no, that board's not mine. The inspector must have bought it up all along. The only other bits and bobs that belong to me. But just can share in that. People don't generally carry enormous notice boards with them. The real question is, why is Inspector Gregson killed there in your room? Well, obviously, I have not the faintest idea. I mean, it's causing me no end of bother, to be honest. It seems to me that Mr. Boone, would rather as little known about his room as possible for some reason. It's come across that way, and more importantly, knowing that scene of the crime as actually his room completely changes things. In particular, there's one part of his testimony that's really bothering me now. That's how I'm finally going to undo this man. This was Mrs. Vigil in the younger years. Wait, that chin. Nah. I thought I was onto something. What? Must have been just seeing things.
Hold it!
Schools are different. So, you live in that room presumably, do you? No, I don't live there. What do you think? Ah.
Excuse me!
Mr. DeRose, do you have something to add? Che? What? You looked as though you were thinking something. What's eating the mouthful of pasta? That's a spaghetti in tomato sauce. See, I was thinking. Perhaps my hair is this color because I eat too much bolognese sauce. Bolognese, of course. No comment. I'm not alone in the world. Me, I've got no kinfolk or nothing. Why would I be involved in something like that?
Hold it!
You mean you have no family? No, none at all. I spend my days on Friends Street peddling tidbits of passerbys. Hoping, just between us, that eventually someone else with lips like mine will come along. Don't think so. You may be right. Anyway, that mark on your neck is just too much of a coincidence for us to ignore. Well, what's a fella to do then, eh? If you don't believe me, we're out in Passa. And there's nothing I can do to flick my lip. It looks like I'm not going to get anywhere here, unless I can produce some proof. You're basically saying I got dressed up and posed as from the inspector, are you? Well, it's beyond me now, I think I can do that. Just look at me. Does it look like I could carry off with disguise with a face like this? Maybe you could, say, with a mustache, or a beard that covered the lip. Perhaps. If I was going to stick to some facial hair might cover my face specimen, I'd look like this lordship over there, wouldn't it? Pardon. I assure you my lips are entirely unremarkable. I would ask you not to catch such scrutinizing looks in my direction, counsel. Sorry, my lord. My imagination gone the better me there. Well, Inspector Gregson did wear a mustache, of course. You're right, he did. So, perhaps he was hiding something himself. He could barely have hidden a crumb in his mustache in that size. Anyway, the detective who spoke was at no facial error at all. See, the couple is right. He was clean shaven. It certainly seems beyond the realms of possibility that this witness could have disguised himself as the victim. It does. That's the extent of your testimony, is it? What's your feeling, Hodo? Well, what Mr. Boone says is undeniable. It would be all but impossible to hide those lips of any form of disguise. Perhaps, yes. But nevertheless, the mark around his neck is equally undeniable. That's true. But why does this whole disguise idea just keep playing in my mind? Could I actually, time is running nigh. Gotta think a little carefully now.
Objection!
So I was right. Well, okay. I'm not sure if I said that before. But I definitely brought up... a painting, this photo. I definitely said stood out.
Objection!
I was not certain. If you say no kinfolk, as you put it, they explain why with that among the spare furnishings, we found this photograph in the room. Since I only have 2 penalties left, I don't want to waste them. I presume, as you've been renting the room, that is this photograph belongs to you, does it not? Well... Mr. Boone, drop the pretense, and tell the court exactly who you really are. I don't know what you're... Oh, what do you mean? I'm Fiddler, I keep telling you so. You really don't need to bother with me. Please, just leave it alone. As the man says, leave it alone. Whatever the truth is about this man's life, there's no bearing on this case. Because it's simply not possible he's impersonating as Inspector Gregson.
Objection!
I can be so sure. Just look at the man. No amount of disguise could ever hide those unmissable features.
Objection!
But what if we were to look at this the other way around? What do you mean? Yes, counsel, what do you mean? Well, there's no denying that Mr. Boone's lips is very prominent indeed. But considering the possibility that his prominent lip itself is part of an elaborate disguise, then hiding the prominent feature, in other words, revealing his true face, would make it an utterly unpenetrable disguise. Won't you agree, Mr. Hugh Boone? Ah! Ah! Good witness. Are you still hiding the truth in the court? If that's the disguise, then underneath it, his true identity must be... Yes, that's right. There's really only one person he could really be. My lord, the defense believes that it can reveal Mr. Boone's true identity to the court. No, please, no. Very well then, counsel. What is the true identity of the peddler?
Take that!
Your real name is actually Mr. Vigil, isn't it? Mr. Daily Vigil. Don't recall that name, counsel. Who is this Mr. Vigil? It's a name I encountered yesterday, my lord. It had to do with the third client of Mr. Herlock Sholmes. A young gentlewoman came to the detective, asking him to locate her missing husband. The woman is in photograph. In fact, this is Mrs. Vigil. What? From what I understand, you haven't returned home since the night before your inspector was found dead. But of course, on that night, you were being held captive for 2 Red League men. And last night, you were put up by the prosecution in preparation for testifying the trial. Because we've been led to believe that you, Mrs. Venus, and Mr. Sandwich were all homeless. Being important witnesses in the case, we need to know where they could find you, of course. And that explains why you've not only been unable to return home, but also unable to contact your wife. She's been beside herself with worry, waiting for you at the Vigil residence. Now, just hold your minute. I don't have the first idea what I'm talking about. Really? I'm simple enough matter to confirm my suspicions. All we have to do is pull off the disguise. No! Please. Bailiff, bring soap, sponge, and a washbowl at once. Mr. De Rosa and Mr. Rose, you are staying to witnesses. Oi, my lord. See, my lord. No! That's manhandling! Oh, his hair color changed. Well, we are now seeing your true features, I presume. Lift your head, sir. The court can see your face. It would appear that the defense counsel's assertion was entirely correct. This has all been a very elaborate deception. So, witnesses. Tell the court, where have you seen this man before? I don't believe it, but... See, there is no question. This is the true inspector we saw at the park. Extraordinary. On the day in the Red League enrollment, the man claiming to be Inspector Gregson, who appeared before Mr. De Rosa and Mr. Rose in the park, was you disguised as the inspector. Or rather, was you posing as the inspector in no disguise at all. Mr. Vigil was formerly employed as the chief warder at Barclay Prison. The chief warder? Then your career had promise. Why would you quite possibly have become the future governor of the prison? What on earth have you been doing peddling telltale on Fresno Street? Well, it's been 10 years since Mr. Vigil worked at the prison. 10 years? I'm really dreadfully sorry about all this. Yes, it's true. I am Daily Vigil. And you were the chief warder at Barclay Prison 10 years ago. So where did Mr. Hugh Boone come from? Boone is... the other me. It's a name I've invented. Well, evidently, there was a great deal under the surface here. I'll explain everything. I'll tell you just how wretched my life had become. Interesting. As you say, it was 10 years ago now that my employment at Barclay's chief ward came to an end. Having left the prison service, I searched for someone new occupation to learn a new wage. But times were hard in London, and I found no suitable engagement for it all. Desperation one day, I turned my hand at selling wares at Friends Street. But your wife appears to know nothing of this. She maintains that you are the chief warder at Barclay Prison. I was early determined that my wife should not know my failings, which is why I never told her. I opened an account at the bank under my name of Hugh Boone, and I rented the cheapest room I could find in Friends Street. The scene of the very crime we are investigating. Yes, that's right. In a place that could emerge every morning at 8, as a squad peddler, and transfer myself back to every evening at 5 into a well-dressed man about town before returning home. That quickly became my daily routine. I was puzzled by the lack of furniture in the room. But that explains it. But why on earth did you just tell us in the first place? I have a wife, sir, and 2 sons. Without wishing to sound self-conceited, they regard me with some pride. I couldn't bring myself to disappoint them. So instead, you decided to conceal your occupation from them? Yes. I've made such terrible mess of everything. Still, one thing doesn't add up. No matter how many tidbits of information you could sell passing gentlemen, even at 6 pence apiece, you couldn't hope to match the salary you must have commanded the chief warder at prison. Very true. To have kept your family in comfort, despite 10 years of somewhat being misbegotten employment. That was all thanks to Inspector Gregson. What? Inspector Gregson? How on earth? It was some years after I invented Boone and began my other life as street seller. He, the inspector, that is, recognized me on one day. Do you mean to say the victim was an acquaintance of yours? I knew him from my time working at the prison. When he saw what I'd become, he was deeply troubled for me and my family. And from that day forward, he visited me on Friends Street with an increasing regularity. Then one day, he asked if I could carry out a secret assignment for him. A secret? What was it? I was to impersonate the inspector. What? Impersonate him? We always meet in a little room so the inspector couldn't brief me. Visit Orsi's tomorrow and take the statement from the properties. It was always something along those lines. Surveillance worked, interviewing people on those occasions. He would lend me his identification so people would believe who I was. My instructions were to make an impression, to let people know that I was Inspector Gregson had been at work. And for those services, he compensated me financially. While scouting your inspector willingly requests his identification in your case with the intention to deceive? That, as I'm sure we need not to point out, is a very serious criminal offense. But why? What was the point of you impersonating him? I truthfully do not know. I can say is that the inspector warned me of numerous occasions. But now remember, Vigil, I need your solemn word. I don't know blabble about it to anyone, alright? Ever. Even if, well, if I end up in a croaker. In time, he started to bring my papers with him to the room as well. So, in fact, the person who declared himself to be Inspector Gregson at the park on Lime Street was really... Yes, it was me, acting on Inspector's orders. As usual, I removed my Boone disguise, and then was instructed to park, armed with Inspector's identification book. It never occurred to me that the bruise on my neck might give me away. Well, it would seem this confession completely destroys the defense's case. Explain yourself, Prosecutor Asogi. My learned friend's assertion was as follows. The victim was killed at another location on the day before his corpse was discovered. At the hands of the two Red-Head League men they imprisoned before the inspector. But no, that can't be. After all, it wasn't the inspector who went to the park that day. It was me. Oh goodness. Finally, we have clarity. We had nothing to do with the murdered inspector. In mercy, Monsieur de la Fence, proving it. Order, order! Indeed, it would appear that we have reached a de facto conclusion of sorts. These witnesses have no involvement in the murder of the victim, as proven, somewhat ironically, by the defense. I hereby call an end to this cross-examination.
Hold it!
Oh, interesting. Pardon me, my lord, but with your permission, I'd like to pose one further question to the witness. Kazuma? What question, counsel? Concerns the events of the 10 years ago. I believe you would have been present at the very significant execution that was carried out at the time. 10 years ago. The execution of the professor? Genshin Asogi? I want to know exactly what your involvement was. Oh. Answer me, man. And one more, counsel. Is it related to the current case? Naturally. It is the prosecution's belief that this case and the events of 10 years ago are extremely linked. Does this offense concur, counsel? Kazuma, you're not yourself. You're not calm as collected as usual. Poor Kazuma. No wonder he's acting this way. His individual's memories of what happened 10 years ago would tell the tale of Genshin Asogi's last moments. His own father. Even so. Asogi. Do you genuinely believe this question requires an answer in order to learn the truth behind Inspector Gregson's death? I need you to trust me. Please. Very well. The defense has no objection. I see. Go ahead. The truth is, I remember very little of that time. You're forgotten? I'm sorry to say, yes. As I said, I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. But for some particular reason, my memory of the events leading up to that moment is extremely hazy. Did that not strike you as strange, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry. Well, 10 years is a long time. But to have forgotten the reason why you left is such an important job. You're right. And not only that, Mr. Vigil's claim contradicts what we already know. The human spirit is a fragile thing. It's broken all too easily. That's a steamship ticket? Interesting. Which is why I have a tendency to wrap it up for protection. Sorry? The human spirit? I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean. When I experience pain and suffering that we feel unable to bear, we block it out, obliterate it from our memories, seal it away. But it never truly leaves us. It's broken, the memories resurface. And when they do, that fragile spirit may finally be crushed. But I really don't. Kazuma. But if that must be crushed, so be it. Because the truth is nasty birds coming out, one way or another. Right. Now I understand. It's clear what his intentions are. He means to expose the truth, at any cost. Perhaps if I pointed out the contradiction in the individual claimed earlier, it might cause some crucial memories to return to him. But should I? Should I present the evidence or not? I have no idea how this is going to go, but this is a court of law, and I have a duty to pursue the truth. Mr. Vigil, I'd like you to look at this.
Take that!
And just a few moments ago, you made the following statement. I resigned from my role at prison 10 years ago. Well, yes. In other words, you claim to have left the post chief of your own volition. Well, yes, of course. Why? Tell me. Do you remember seeing this document before? No, I don't. This is dismissal notice, ordering the immediate termination of prison staff members' employment. A dismissal notice? And the name on this notice is yours, Mr. Vigil. What? It's mine? So you didn't resign from your prison service at all. For some reason, you were dismissed as chief warder from Barclay. No, there's some mistake. I'm sure I attended my resignation. The dismissal notice is nonsense. Isn't it? If you were forcibly dismissed, there must have been a good reason. Clearly, you did something. Mr. Vigil, it's time to break the seal and if you remember. According to the few remaining records, the final execution that she supervised was the 17th of June, 10 years ago. On that day, something very serious took place at Barclay Prison. The 17th of June. Was that the professor's execution? Professor... As you were the chief warder at the time, it stands to reason that you would have been present throughout the proceedings. It does sound familiar. And yet, the execution never took place. The convict, ostensibly executed earlier that day, later reemerged from his grave. The convict came back to life in the cemetery in the middle of the night. They are the witness. However, the witness claims that a moment after he saw the convict clambering out of his grave, a gunshot rang out from over his shoulder. The bullet pierced the professor's chest, killing him instantly. Those may have been the professor's actual last moments. Yes. Seeing as you were in charge of overseeing execution at the time, just a curiosity thing I want to check. Similar ages. You must know the truth about what really happened. It's in your head, somewhere deep down. Well, Chief Warder Daily Vigil, I know your memories are in your head that can be explained. What happened on the 17th of June 10 years ago? And now it's time for you to drag them up. Mr. Vigil. Yes, the whole prison. It was complete chaos. The prisoner escaped. He was killed in the cemetery. The shocking news ripped through the Barclay like a hurricane. Order. Do you mean to say, Mr. Vigil, Any memories of the time returned? My head, it's like some floodgates have been opened. The images, the screams. Oh, goodness. The papers. I need to go to bed soon. Can we wrap this up, please? Yes, and not Trevor. But surely those reports were exaggerated. There were traces at the scene. Traces of what? Trevor? In Logan Cemetery, at plot number 139, blood. Lots of blood. That's where the man was buried, of course. Obviously, something terrible had happened there. And the depths of conspiracy and depravity from which these tales emerging quite staggering. I reviewed the policy records from the time extensively. A thorough investigation was conducted by Scotland Yard to ascertain how the convicted managed to escape in the first place. And the conclusion reached by the investigation team was that a member of the prison staff must have been involved. Are you suggesting the prison warder obtained the man's bid for freedom? Yes, and I was suspected for doing it, of using that mass murderer's execution as a way to help him escape. You did what? I remember now. The horror of it all is coming back to me. On an evening, a few days after the execution, some detectives came to my prison. I was called to the governor's office at the top of his watchtower. I'm sorry, Daly. This is serious business, but can I help you know? Chief Warder, you were responsible for overseeing the execution of four, eh? Well, it's time that fell Scotland Yard when I have a few words with you about it. Better to pack up your things, laddie. You're attending in person. As soon as he told me that, my mind just went completely blank. And the next thing I knew, the professor, the most hated killer in our country's history. And I let him escape. I'm finished. My life is over. Oh. Jesus. Order. Balif, fetch a doctor at once. Go to the joint for today with immediate effect. Okay.
So, with Mr. Vigil's collapse, proceedings came to an abrupt end for the day. Once again overshadowed by the legacy of that notorious killer, appearing like a cursed ghost ship on a foggy ocean. Lord Van Zeiks, Mr. Vigil, Kazuma, and Gregson. All of them bound by invisible chains anchored to the same wreckage in the murky depths of the past. But the miraculous light that had been trying to cut through the gloom and shine on those tragic events was playing on the edges of the truth at last.